Hey guys, what's up? MadSeason here, back with another video for you. A while ago, I made a video about a possible next expansion for World of Warcraft. Well, the latest round of data mining has some pretty interesting things that I think warrants a follow-up to that. In this video, I'll talk about the possible ending to the Legion expansion, and maybe even what's in store for the next expansion, so obviously, huge spoilers ahead. I'll also bring everyone up to speed with the story of the game too, so this is kind of a hybrid 7.3 video and a lore video. If you want to see this stuff as you play the game, feel free to skip this video. And another thing is that there is a lot of speculation, so just keep that in mind. We don't even know if 7.3, or rather 7.3.5, is the final patch yet, so it's still very early. The first place I'd like to start is with the projected end of the Legion expansion. As you know, in patch 7.3, we're visiting the old Draenei home planet, Argus. It's split up into 3 separate zones, and it's basically the throne room of Sargeras and his burning legion. I'll start off by giving you a brief rundown of Sargeras and his character. Now, this is going to be obvious stuff for a lot of you out there who know the lore, but I'd still like to give sort of a brief rundown to bring the people who are newer to the lore up to speed, or else this video is just going to go over everyone's heads if they don't know these characters I'm about to talk about. Sargeras was originally part of a group of titans called the Pantheon. These titans are basically the gods of World of Warcraft. They're these giant planet-sized cosmic beings who have the power to create life itself. They're born from something called world souls, which are the cores of planets, and they're described as living worlds. When they awaken, they take on a human-like form such as this, and there's only a handful of known ones throughout the galaxy. Some of these names will be familiar to you. We have Aman'Thul, Aeonar, Norgannon, Golganath, Khaz'goroth, Agramar, Azeroth, Argus, and Sargeras. Sorry if I butchered the pronunciation, by the way. I tend to do that. Their goal is to find all of the world souls in the cosmos and awaken them to find more of their kind and watch over the universe. They all have their own special roles. Aeonar is the Lifebinder and the protector of life, nature, and health. Khaz'goroth and his hammer is the shaper and forger of worlds. And Sargeras was formerly known as the Defender, but is now known as the Destroyer. He was the strongest warrior archetype out of all of the titans, and was even considered the most noble, even being unable to conceive pure evil. So, what happened to him, and why is he the leader of the Burning Legion, and is now known as the Destroyer? Well, basically, he was battling these demons for a long time, alongside his companion and good friend, Agramar. He discovered that some of the demons began wielding powers of the Void, and suspected that they were just pawns of something far more powerful than they. Eventually, through his battles and some interrogation, he learned about the existence of the Void Lords and Old Gods. He discovered a world that had been corrupted by the Old Gods, and that the world soul inside would create something known as a Dark Titan, a being even more powerful than the normal Titans. He made a rather rash decision of cleaving the world in two, killing the sleeping world soul inside, and reporting his actions and discoveries to the Pantheon. So, the Pantheon, their goal being to save these world souls, chastised him and said that perhaps it could have yet saved the corrupted Titan. Sargeras pleaded his case, but to no avail. He stormed off and never returned to the Pantheon. He meditated on what to do for a while, and he eventually became overwhelmed by fear, doubt, and despair. His thoughts were twisted, and eventually decided that the universe itself was corrupted with the presence of the Void Lords, and it must be purged. And, in his mind, the only way to stymie the corruption would be to burn all life away, and thus began the Burning Crusade. He gave the then chaotic and ravenous demons more power and intelligence, and offered them a choice: serve me or die. The army of demons he had once been fighting became his army, and he went from world to world destroying all life in the cosmos, and in the process became the Destroyer. The Pantheon pleaded with him to stop his campaign, and told him of another world soul called Azeroth, who would one day become powerful enough to defeat the Void Lords. His old friend Agramar approached him unarmed and pleaded with him to stop his campaign. Sargeras then struck down his old companion, killing him in one blow, forever severing his ties with the Pantheon and their ideals. He saw Azeroth not as a savior, but rather just a vessel for the Void Lords to corrupt to create the ultimate Dark Titan and Destroyer of Worlds. One thing you have to note here is that in Sargeras' mind, he's trying to save the cosmos. It's just in his own twisted way. He's not going around killing everyone for no real reason, like a comic book villain or something. The Pantheon's pleas didn't work, and Sargeras killed all of his former allies. Before they died, Norgannon was able to cast a spell to protect their spirits, but now the Pantheon was no more. And now nothing stood in the way between Sargeras and his new goal, which was to find Azeroth. And this brings us to the events of World of Warcraft, and finally the new information on this recent 7.3 data mine. So, all of this happens on Argus, which is a planet that contains another world soul, a dormant titan. It housed the Eridar race and was pretty much a utopia before Sargeras and the Burning Legion got their claws to kill Jaden and Archimonde and made them betray their brethren, sending Prophet Velen to escape to Draenor. The planet, as you can see, has not fared well over time and is now twisted by the Burning Legion and serves as their home base. So, let's start with the possible end of the expansion, and once again, keep in mind that these quotes are just data mined. So, we're finally taking the fight to Sargeras and the Burning Legion. We have a full series of campaign quests where we fight to, as far as we know, the final Raiden Legion and Taurus, the Burning Throne. In the boss list, we learned that we encounter old titans such as Eonar and Agrimar, who is somehow reborn and now serves as Sargeras' minion. There's talk either inside or outside of the throne between Sargeras and Agrimar about some sort of rebirth, as you can see from this dialogue. The rebirth seems to be referring that Sargeras is working to rebirth the Pantheon into their fell forms, which would explain Eonar's and Agrimar's presence in the boss list. Agrimar speaks that their kin still resist Sargeras' path, hinting that the rest of the Pantheon is present in some form. And you also learn that Eonar, the Lifebinder, eludes them and she's the key to the whole rebirth plot. And the last quote here, "When my new Pantheon rises, no power in the universe will stand against the Legion," confirms that the rebirth is indeed referring to the Pantheon and their fell forms. Instead of their original itinerary of scouring the cosmos for world souls and to protect everyone, Sargeras is corrupting them to purge all life in the universe. Remember, although Sargeras killed the Pantheon, Norgannon was able to cast a spell to save their souls. They can still somehow be turned into corrupted titans. And, in the Agrimar encounter probably, you also learn that they're looking to awaken Argus as well and have him join this new corrupted Pantheon. So, moving on here, in the Eonar fight, you learn that the Legion has finally found her soul. Magni and Illidan work together so they can find her and protect her. From Eonar's essence, you learn that Sargeras has the souls of the Pantheon deep within the core of Argus and that you have to free them before they succumb to the corruption. Now, spoiler alert, but somehow we're successful in this, and now we just have one more task, the World Soul of Argus. You battle to the heart of Ventorus, which is the power font of the Legion's infinite army. Now, normally, you're supposed to be able to kill demons permanently if there's enough fell energy around, which is the case on Argus, but Sargeras is using the power of Argus's World Soul to somehow negate that. So, as of this video at least, the last boss in this raid and our final goal is Argus the Unmaker. We have to destroy him to ruin Sargeras' plan and to release him from his misery. And we're successful. From this dialogue, you learn that we finally put Argus's tortured soul to rest. Sargeras is hot on your heels though as you look to the skies and see his arrival. Now, something I want to point out here is that this expansion is about one word, sacrifice. Varian Rin sacrificed himself to protect his allies from the failed Broken Shore assault. You learn the backstory of Illidan's Stormrage and his sacrifices, that of Prophet Velen, Grand Magistrix Elisande and her people, and how the Horde sacrificed the Alliance by running the heck away like a bunch of pansies. But the point is that this expansion is all about sacrifice from the beginning and to the end. As Sargeras is about to come down on you and your allies, the souls and voices of the old titans and Illidan's Stormrage sacrifice themselves by using the last of theirs and Argus's power to seal Sargeras in the seat of the Pantheon. Sargeras and the spirits of the titans are sealed away, and Illidan's Stormrage now serves as their jailer from now on, just how Maiev served as his jailer long ago. The Burning Crusade is over. And that's it. That's all of the information we have, as of this video anyways. It's pretty wild stuff, and it has to be the biggest patch in the game's history in terms of lore and story progression. But as I said, I also wanted to go over information about the next possible expansion since we got some new information about that too. If you saw my previous video, you would know that I was speculating that the next expansion would be mainly about the old god N'Zoth, the Void, the Naga including Queen Ashara, Deception, and Betrayal. So, we stopped Sargeras and his plot to destroy all life to stop the corruption, but what if I were to tell you that maybe he was right? What if Azeroth, this ultra-powerful titan, was to be corrupted by the Void and the old gods? With the most powerful beings in existence, the titans, now sealed away, how would we stop that? Let's start with the Varimathras quotes. He's another boss in Ventorus, and he has some very interesting words for both the Horde and Alliance. He used to be the Archlord of the Undercity and served Sylvanas. For the Horde, he has 3 quotes. He talks about how she seized the throne and suggests that it wasn't really by the Horde's will that it happened. If you remember in my previous video with the Il'gynoth Whispers, we had a couple of quotes that could be referring to Sylvanas. The first is, "Her heart is a crater and we have filled it." Now, in my mind, this could be referring to 3 different people. Jaina, who disappeared at the beginning of the expansion because the Alliance is working together with the Horde. Azeroth, our Titan planet with the crater being the Well of Eternity explosion and the Maelstrom, or Sylvanas. Whichever three this may be referring to, it implies that they're under control of the old gods, and this Varimathras quote supports Sylvanas being the culprit in my opinion. Another whisper is, at the hour of her third death, she will usher us in. Now, this one is a little iffy because technically, Sylvanas has died 3 times so far. The first was when Arthas killed her and turned her into a banshee, the second was when she committed suicide after killing the Lich King Arthas, and the third, Lord Godfrey kills her and then she's quickly resurrected. The second death people are saying is debatable because it happened outside of the game and Blizzard is only counting in-game deaths. So, that would make an upcoming third death point towards something sinister with her and the old gods. Personally, I'm not sure, but I thought I'd share it anyway since it's debatable, I think. But Varimathras also has quotes for the Alliance. He says that she already planted the seeds for the Alliance's downfall and that she is patient. Given his ties with Sylvanas and him mentioning her for the Horde dialogue, this is surely pointing towards her. He goes on to say that our thrones will run red with betrayal and our holy places will burn and a shattered mask will hang above our hearth, that we are blind to the true darkness closing in around us. So, you see more of the betrayal theme, that we're being tricked and manipulated, and I think all of this implicates Sylvanas as the culprit and ties her more closely to those Il'gynoth quotes. Although I'm sure there'll be traitors on the Alliance as well. Something to note about the Dreadlord race is that they have ties with the old gods, not just the Legion. They're one of the most intelligent of all of the various demon types, capable of imitating and taking on the form of others to manipulate people and to gather intelligence. But the world they lived on was almost completely corrupted by the old gods before it was discovered by Sargeras. It was from the Dreadlords, otherwise known as the Nathrazim, that he learned about the old gods and the Void Lords. So they have close ties to them, and Varimathras being a Dreadlord just gives more clout to the next expansion about being old gods in my opinion. All of this betrayal and that Azeroth is being corrupted by the old gods, with N'Zoth being imprisoned and his ties with Queen Ashara and the Naga, all points towards an old god expansion I think. But there's another little hint that we got. In the latest data mine, people found some Kul Tiras armor. Now, this armor follows the naming protocol of questing gear for previous expansions, and on the armor itself, you can see maps of new zones embroidered on it. Kul Tiras has been an island long lost to the world of Warcraft, and it's been a huge request for quite some time by many players. It was teased during the Cataclysm expansion, but nothing ever came of it, and when asked about it, Blizzard said that they might return to it for a later expansion. It's a human maritime city-state that was home to the famous Proudmoore family where Jaina came from. With her being absent this entire time and this new armor set popping up, it points towards that she possibly returned to Kul Tiras and that it'll be in the next expansion. And being a maritime nation, we're gonna have a lot of water, and coincidentally, N'Zoth is the water octopus like old god. So, all of this information is enough to make your head spin, but it all points towards the general direction of an old god N'Zoth expansion, and in my opinion, Queen Ashara and the Naga. I think Sargeras was correct in his fears of Azeroth becoming corrupted by the old gods and being turned into a Dark Titan. I think for the next expansion, there will be betrayal from both sides, Azeroth will be turned into chaos with the Void at the Naga, and we just sealed away the only beings capable of stopping it. Out of the frying pan and into the freezer. At this point, I'd be shocked if it wasn't the case. Once again though, assuming all of this data mine stuff is correct and it actually comes out. At the end of the day, we're just looking at stuff that isn't even in the game yet, so our basis for all of this speculation is pretty shaky, so who knows, I could be completely wrong. Maybe it'll be World of Warcraft, Corgis Unleashed. And the thing is that it's not even the end of it. We also have Illyria messing with the Void as well on Argus and some other things, but this video is starting to drag on and I think I hit most of the major points already. I might come back to it in another video, probably when we have more than just data mine quotes to work with. If you thought I missed something or I got anything wrong, feel free to let me know, or if you just want to share your thoughts on this, whether you agree or disagree with what I've said. The only thing I care about is if you found the video interesting or entertaining. As always, thanks for watching, like it if you liked it, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.